What do we know? What do they know?
Hello, my name is Davion, and I want to welcome you back to the Bro Code, where we, emerging men of faith, dive into crucial and interesting topics. Unfortunately, Adam and Tyrell couldn't be with us this go around, but we are fortunate to have Mr. Deontay fill in as a guest. This week, we'll be talking about black men in therapy. You ready?
You ready?
Let's
get it.
First question. True or false? Everyone needs a therapist.
Go ahead, that's you. You can go ahead.
And why, if so?
I believe everyone does need a therapist, just because, therapy brings out traumas that we're not even aware of.
Right.
And a lot of people look at therapy as a negative, and, we're brought up to think we only need therapy when something's wrong. But we have things that we're not even aware of, that happen to us in our childhood, in our lives, and, a good therapist can bring that out. And you don't need therapy just, for the negative. You can, use therapy to discuss the positive things going on in your life as well.
Right.
But, we're not, with all the busy things going on in our lives, we're not able to think about every section of our life pretty much. So I believe everyone can use therapy, negative and positive situations.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's true. Everyone needs a therapist now. When I think of therapy, I think of treatment. Like just as a former athlete, you go to physical therapy to treat something that's going on. So I think everybody needs some type of treatment because, like you were saying, there's trauma, there's things you deal with that a lot of times you're just not aware of. So you need someone to be able to unpack that on, and then to learn from them so that you can heal and recover from that very injury in a sense. So yeah, I definitely think it's very important to have a therapist.
So I guess for me, kind of piggybacking off of what you guys said as you described it, that I feel everyone does not actually need a therapist. However, I believe everyone should be open to it because of the fact that, as you just said, sometimes people need to uncover trauma. Sometimes people need guidance, but that could be from a coach, that could be from a teacher, that could be from somebody who's spiritual, it could be from a pastor, it could be from a leader. So I believe everyone should be open to therapy because, yes, some people may need therapy. But if you say true or false, I believe it's false that not everyone needs therapy, but they may need some type of guidance to get through life situations.
Would you say, though, that a therapist doesn't have to be in an official capacity? So having a therapist, it doesn't have to be like a licensed clinician. It has to be somebody that can help you treat what you're going through. Right? So maybe you do need one, but not in an official capacity.
Okay, in official capacity. Like everyone doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm a licensed therapist.
Because everybody can't afford counseling.
But some type of guidance definitely should be open to it. What you think?
But there's
Do you guys think, I may be going a different route with this. Do you guys think we've had a lot of negative impacts of getting therapy? Let me give you a scenario. A newlywed couple getting therapy from a pastor who hasn't been trained. That's why the producers asked the question, everybody needs a therapist instead of everybody needs therapy. There's a difference. Therapist is an actual vessel, while therapy could be self-medicating or self-therapy, stuff like that. So I guess my question is, what are the harmful effects or negative effects, I guess going into yours, of getting therapy from somebody not licensed or inexperienced?
Well, I want to piggyback off that. Just because someone is licensed doesn't mean they're going to be doing the right thing as well.
That's true.
And I've actually known multiple women where the therapist tried to use their situation against them to get at them, get their number, take them out, and do sexual activities. So just because someone has a license or doesn't, which is it's tricky, right?
So you don't think therapists should be trained?
Yes, I do. But based on how you worded your question, it kind of seemed like you were saying just because they are trained
makes them qualified.
Yeah, it makes them qualified.
I think it comes to, I think the question, I think it's a good question. I think it is like to the true and false standpoint, does somebody need a therapist? right? Does somebody need somebody that they can unpack and talk to? I think that's really like the intent of the question. I don't know about the official capacity of therapist. I don't know if that's what we're looking for, but I do think that regardless of if you're trained or not trained, everybody's situation is a little different. So one thing, my uncle owns his own therapy clinic. One thing he always talks to me about is when you go find somebody to talk to and speak about the things that you've gone through and the trauma, make sure that they align with you when it comes to their values and beliefs. Because you could have a therapist that, let's say, for instance, you're a Christian. It's good to get a therapist that is a Christian sometimes because they have values and beliefs that align with you and you see the world differently, as opposed to just getting any old therapist that's out there. So I think that may be even more of what's important, outside of just finding a therapist. But yeah, I mean, we could go on and on about that. So I got a question. You kind of alluded to it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Black men and women have seen therapy as negative in our communities? And is that the reason why they've been ashamed or against going?
I think it can be a form of isolation. Like when you're going through something or you're dealing with trauma, the natural way is to deal with it on your own, at least for me. Especially Black people, Black men, we tend to internalize a lot of trauma. So that could be one negative thing that Black people think about when they think about it.
Yeah, I think, I just think it's very counterintuitive to what we know, because we come from a place of, a lot of Black people come from a place of struggle. Like, you gotta struggle. If you didn't have a struggle,
Right.
then you have no success.
Right.
Right? So like therapy, a lot of times you're kind of pushing that struggle off on someone else or communicating that struggle to someone else, and it's like, that's part of my story. I'm not supposed to get over it. I'm supposed to hold it with me. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be a part of me. So I think sometimes, because that is the narrative that we think to be true, we don't go to therapy because we're seeing it that's soft, right? Like, you're supposed to go through the struggle, get it out the mud, like whatever it takes.
Start from the bottom.
Start from the bottom, all of that. Yeah. And if you go to therapy, it's like you're being soft, like just thug it out, you know. So I think that has a lot to do with why it could be looked at as negative.
Well, I definitely want to hear my boy Deontay got to say, but we got to pay some bills, y'all. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Today I'm here to show you the rental spaces we have available. Come take a look. We have 2 beautiful, spacious offices that you can rent by the day, week, or month. Meet one-on-one with clients, conduct business meetings, or simply use it for quiet time to build your business. We also have a classroom that you can utilize for training, webinars, meetings, whatever you so choose. We have 2 wall-mounted TVs available for screen sharing and a whiteboard for added reinforcement. So come see us for all your business needs. You can contact me directly at 757-606-0798. Email me at m.green@greenwoodconglom.com or visit our website at greenwoodconglom.com.
Hello, everyone. We're back. I believe, Davion, you have the next question?
Yeah. Why do you guys think the rise of mental health is so relevant in our community today?
Whew. I mean, just look around. Everything that's going on. I feel that, already just with getting through the pandemic, and we're still technically on the end of it, it's still going on. And then just day-to-day life stressors. It's a lot happening. And so people are not quite sure how to process everything, how to deal with everything, how to receive everything that's happening around them. And it's just adding to the day-to-day life. So, yeah.
And I like that in our community, with the new stuff that's being added on, we haven't even gone over the old trauma yet. So like, I remember I was talking to one of my friends. She was she's deals with therapy a lot. She was telling me like she'll go to therapy for one thing, ready to talk about something else, and then unpack 12 different other topics and stuff. So it's pretty interesting what one trauma can lead to.
The triggers.
Yeah.
What you think?
I say maybe social media. I mean, social media is making everything more relevant these days. So maybe we're dealing with some of these mental issues, but social media is bringing it to light. For example, like if you can see my day-to-day life and you see, I may have these issues going on because now I'm posting about it. Maybe you can come to me and say, I see you're dealing with this, go get some help. But you're seeing my mental issues that I'm having because I'm posting on social media now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that now more than ever we use terms loosely to describe different things. So like the term trauma, right? We use that for a lot of things that may not really be a trauma when you look at the definition of it, right? Maybe an experience you have, but it may not be traumatic. So I think that's one reason, because we use terms so loosely. It is, people are thinking, hey, I got a trauma. I need to go to therapy for this, or I need to see someone for this. And I think you do, but it may not be a trauma, right? But also, I think it's just more socially acceptable now to talk about how you feel and express yourself, as opposed to in the past, it wasn't, kind of like we were talking about prior. There's just not, like my parents, I talk to my dad. My dad's very rarely going to tell me how he really feels, right? Like, I think now it's actually interesting. Like I've always believed my dad loved me, but now, right, as it becomes more acceptable to tell people how they feel, he says it more than he has ever said it in the past, right? So I think it makes me feel it doesn't make me feel one way or another, but it's interesting to see even how, that's affecting the generations that came before us. So I think a lot has to do with just what's been accepted.
So why do you think it's more accepted now? And what do you think is making it more acceptable now? We're aware that it is more acceptable, but why is that trend leading that way?
Yeah, I think people are natural followers, right? Like, to be honest, naturally people follow other people. So it took someone to stand up and someone to say, hey, this needs to be acceptable, right? Like talking about how you feel, expressing your feelings should be acceptable, especially for men, right? I don't think it has been as accepted for men. So once people catch wind of that and that becomes a trend, now it becomes acceptable. That's what I think.
I guess kind of piggybacking off of that, I have a friend who's a therapist who has a therapist. So I'm like, now it's being more accepted. Now it's people being more vocal about, oh, I'm getting help and it's okay, whether you're male or female. But yeah, I think just the trend, everybody's jumping on.
I remember when therapists used to be called shrinks. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Like the change of like how we even approach like therapy is like now an occupation or a field of work. People are making money from it. There's a lot of life coaches now who are doing it. I also think, and y'all may laugh at this, I think Iyanla has a pretty big part to play in when it comes to like mental health, especially her show on OWN, or any shows like that. Maybe like even Dr. Phil, any place where you can go and you can talk through media. We don't see stuff like that on TV often, at least for like people that look at us. We see the powers, we see the empires, we see all that. We don't see therapy.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point. You said it is now monetized, right? Like people always made money on therapy, but I think people also see an opportunity to find a profession or a passion and make money in actually helping people. In the past, that wasn't a thing. Like, you just help people to help people. But now they put a dollar value to it, the amount of time you spend with someone in a session.
Yeah.
So now, if I'm a advocate, right? You have more advocates out here that is their passion, and they're starting their businesses surrounded by therapy. So that could be another reason, right? Like, once money's tied to something, things take off generally. So, what would you say is probably one reason that therapy is looked at in a positive way? We keep talking about negative. Like, let's talk about it from a positive standpoint. Like, what do you think the Black community feels about therapy now that it is here?
I mean, and honestly, going back to what you brought up about your dad, it's hard to be hard, in my opinion. You work so hard putting up defenses, putting up walls. You end up pushing everybody out. You're really pushing yourself inward. You know, at some point you want to be free from that. At some point you don't like being that isolated. I feel that way. I feel like everybody has a breaking point at where like I want to talk to somebody. I want help. You know.
Yeah, no, definitely. So maybe it's just made our community more inclusive. I mean, I think in the past we've had everybody's been operating their own silos, essentially their own struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, shoot, I could talk to you about my struggle and it's normal, as opposed to before. It's like my struggle is my struggle, your struggle is your struggle.
Yeah.
Like we're all trying to go to the same place, but we're not doing it together.
Not together.
It's definitely easier for us to relate nowadays because of social media.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in to the Bro Code. Another great episode. Stay tuned for the next episode. There's going to be a lot that comes from it. But in the meantime, subscribe to the YouTube channel at CA Vision Media. And then follow all of our social media handles below. All right, thanks.
Peace.